Welcome to the class, Aiden. Just get your mic going so we can actually chat. Can you actually hear me now, Aiden? Please give me indication that you can hear me.
Lucia, can you hear me now?
Yes, excellent.
Oh,
Good.
sorry, I was just trying to fix it.
Sometimes if you start the program with a mic already in, it doesn't work, and sometimes other way around. Okay, we have missed a couple of parts of your syllabus. Can you just tell me maybe what you've been busy with?
I've been revising the Euclidean geometry and trigonometry and calculus, basically what we did last time.
Okay.
I did recently start with finance, which I would like to do today.
Okay.
That being like the future, what do you call it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Right. Okay. We can go there. Just need to set up a little page for that. Financial maths. Okay. So basically what you need to carry over from grade 11 is a conversion from effective interest to nominal interest. That's I don't know if you're familiar with this little equation. It just looks something like this.
Oh, yes, I know that, yeah.
Okay, so that you need to carry over. And then obviously something like hire purchase. But I mean, I haven't seen any of this really in a grade 12 paper, but that's also part of your syllabus. And then normal compound interest and simple interest calculations, obviously, because that's part of your syllabus, but these are not really very popular again. And then you need to work with, you need to be able to calculate in other words, time, like years or months in compound interest calculation. And then you work with future values and present values. You've seen that.
Yes.
Those long equations. Okay, let's just start and just make sure that you can actually calculate n. You have to start there. So let's just make sure we can do that. Let's assume that we are what? That we're going to start off by, we're going to start off with investing, let's say 30,000 Rand at 9.2% per annum. And that is compounded monthly. Okay. How many months will it take to have a balance in your account? Let's say a balance of, let's say 52,000 Rand, plus minus. Okay, well, these are just values of just thumbs up. It can be any value.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to use the compound interest formula. A equals P1 plus I to the power of N. You can use I, or you can just use this formula. A equals P1 plus, instead of I, you can just convert to R over 100 straight. They are basically the same. I don't know if you work with I or you work with
Yeah,
R.
I work with I, but I know R is also rate. So
yeah, I work with R. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Okay, so let's just fill in that formula. So A is the accrued amount. So at the end, you need 52,000. And then you start off with 30 grand. And that you're going to put in the bank. Now, I'm going to take 9.2 and divide it with 100. Well, that's basically I, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to divide it with 12 months. Because there's a monthly compounding. You understand that? You probably will have 0.092 over 12. And then you can have N there. Now, if you have 12N, then N is going to be the years. And if you only have N, you're going to calculate the months. You can have 12 in there, it doesn't matter. Okay, how do we go about now?
So we need to try isolate N.
Yes, and I'm going to divide the 30,000 Rand underneath the 52. That's basically going to be 52 over 30. Your calculator will simplify it as 26 over 15 or something like that. Doesn't matter. You understand what just happened? I divided 30,000.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to leave it as a fraction. And then I'm also going to calculate whatever I find in that bracket there. So I'm just going to calculate what is 1 plus then 9.2 over divided by 100 over 12. That's giving me 3023 over 3,000. Yeah. So I'm leaving that as a fraction. I'm not going to work with decimals unless my calculator doesn't give me fractions, but only decimals. Okay, now I'm not sure if you can work with logs yet.
Yeah, we do logs with the.
Okay, you're gonna what they call take log on both sides. So you're just gonna multiply or add log on both sides. It's like multiplying an x on both sides, but now you can use that log law. That log law, I'm just going to show you the log law. If I have log, let's say 5 square over x, then I can actually take that exponential value and put it in front of the log, 2 log 5x. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And this step I'm writing now, you don't have to write. I'm just going to show you what is actually happening. That becomes n log whatever is in that bracket. That means this log section here, the blue one, I can divide away under the green one or next to the green one. So I'm dividing with that blue log part. So my answer looks like this, or the calculation rather looks like this. And that is n. Right, so now I'm just going to type that in a calculator. There's various ways of doing it. I'm just going to simply type it in as it is there. Otherwise, I have to do fractions with logs, and that becomes like a fraction on top of a fraction. What do we get? Over 3,000. We get like 72,019. 0198, whatever. Now, in financial math, you always round up because that means you're already in this 73rd month. You've passed the 72nd month, so it will take 73 months.
As long as the decimals are like past the 0,
yeah,
will it always round up? Okay.
Basically, what's going to happen? You will have this 52,000 Rand after 72 months and let's say 3 days. We haven't calculated that, but that means you are already in your 73rd month. So it will take 73 months. That's just the way they actually do it. You don't have to wait out the full 73 months, but you will be already in the 73rd month. So you can't answer it as 72 months.
Yeah.
Okay, that's basically what you have to be able to do. You have to calculate n in either a future value, present value, or a normal compound interest sum like this. Right, so let's look at the new financial maths equations. I've got it here, and I've got it there. I don't know why I don't have it here. I've got, let's just have a look where those calculations. Okay, there we go. That's one. You'll probably use this one. Look like we're just going to take the word gewone out because that's like Afrikaans. So let's do that. Future value. Okay, so future value calculations. Future value calculations means that you don't have the value of investment yet. That value will only realize in the future. So they use F. F equals X, then bracket 1 plus I to the power of N minus 1 over I. Now, the difference between this and a compound interest sum. In a normal compound interest sum, you make a single investment. And then last year you've like did timeline sums where you like add after 2 years, you add a little bit of money or the interest rate change or whatever. So you had to make a timeline. But a future value sum is where you invest a certain amount of money each month. Like, so if you start working and you want to save R1,000 a month, then use this formula to figure out what will the value of that investment be after 10 years or 5 years, whatever. So let's assume that we are saving, we're going to save 1,500 Rand a month. And we're going to do that for 10 years, right? And the interest rate is 8.7% per annum. DJ is per annum. Compounded monthly. And what else? Nah, that's all we need. Right, the question. What is the value of our investment, after 10 years? Okay. We planned to do it for 10 years. And this is quite simple, isn't it? The future value we don't know, so that's F. We're going to take 1,500 Rand, put that in the bank. Okay, if they don't give you any dates of when you're actually doing your first payment, then it's called a normal annuity. And then you just use this formula. You can also pay up front. It means you're paying at the beginning of the month, but that they must specify. And then it's called I don't know what you would name that, but it's a future paid annuity. So you pay up front, beginning of the month instead of the end of the month. Well, we'll do a calculation like that just now. Okay, 1 plus the rate is 8.7 divided by 100. And you're going to maybe do that on the side because you're going to use I use R, and you divide that with 12. And this you're going to do for how many months? 120 months. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Or 10 times 12 minus 1. Okay, this is simple and quite easy to do. Right. So you just type that in your calculator and get the future value. You're not going to get something as simple as this, but we need to just get that calculation going and see if we can do the normal number punching.
Just writing everything down quickly, then I'll.
Obviously, if you've done this chapter already, Aiden, and you're familiar with it, you can rather ask me questions or say, look, I can do this. This is like easy peasy. Let's do something harder, or let's work out X or whatever.
I prefer doing this. It's just more practice at the end of the day. So
I get 285,399 Rand and 53 cents.
is that the answer that you got?
Okay, good. Look, what you must realize, I probably won't ask this, but you only basically invested 1,500 Rand times 120. This is the amount you've invested. No.
Yeah.
Okay, and that is 180,000 Rand. The difference between these two values is obviously the interest you've earned. It's just like, wow, 94,600.
Got a lot.
Yeah, it's quite good. Okay, depends on the inflation. Inflation is a certain percentage of which values or a certain basket of values are devaluating. So if the inflation is higher, then you're actually lost. Because so if a car costs 180,000 Rand today, then you won't be able to buy that car in 10 years from now with 285. Yeah, that's what, but the inflation rate varies. And in South Africa, it's quite high actually. Okay, so now in this equation, you must also be able to calculate X and calculate N. All right, you want to practice one of them?
Yeah. Can
Okay,
we
which
do
one?
X?
X.
I don't think I've done X before.
All right, no problem. We want to know, okay, we want to go overseas in 5 years on a holiday. And this is for a nice holiday. And we calculated that we probably will need about, let's say, 85,000 Rand for the holiday. This is what we need. And okay, the bank will give us 8% per annum, compounded monthly, normally monthly. You can't really work with a different compound. If you're not going to save monthly, you can't calculate something that doesn't compound monthly. Okay, right. So that's the bank's part. I want to know how much money do we need to save per month, starting today or starting at the end of the month, really. So how much money do we have to save monthly, starting the end of this month? If they don't say anything, it's the end of the month. It's called a normal annuity. To get 80,000 Rand in 5 years. So we're going to use F equals X, 1 plus I to the power of N minus 1 over I. That's your future value calculation. I always use this formula if I want to calculate something in the future. The P formula is more difficult.
That's present, right?
Yeah, present value sums are sometimes harder. Right, good. Let's fill in those things and I'll give you a chance to calculate it. That's 85 grand. That's what we need. X is the monthly installment. We don't know that. And the rate is 0.08 over 12 to the power of 60, because that's 5 times 12 minus 1 over 0.08 over 12. This is not difficult. The easiest way to do is to just type everything on the right-hand side without the X in your calculator and then divide it under 85,000. So I'll have 85,000 here and then a certain value next to X. These sums are not complicated yet.
Yeah.
They become quite involved, difficult. I get something like 73,476 with lots of other decimals X.
Yeah.
And that means I'm just going to write in my calculator, type 85,000 divided by answer. I'm just going to do that. 85 grand divided by answer. Whoa. And then I get X as 1,156 Rand and 83 cents.
I got the same answer.
Okay, good. Right, now they can, with future values, they can play around. They can mess around, basically. They can say, look, we're gonna save, let's say 600 Rand today. That normally means the first of the month. And also 600 Rand at the end of the month. And every month after that. For 4 years.
So basically, instead, a normal annuity looks like this. So if we start in January, take out an annuity, then the first payment is on the 31st. That's first payment. And then we're going to do February, whatever year that is, let's say 28, that's your second installment. And then March, the 31st, is your third installment. So at the end of each month, you make installment. But now they say, look, we're paying on the 1st of January. We're paying our first installment. And then it's 31st. This is called, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's just something like upfront annuity or something like that. You pay immediately and then you start at the end of the month. So it's exactly the same as a normal annuity, except there's a certain amount right at the beginning that has got another or extra month of interest added to it.
That has two interests.
Well, yeah, this 600 Rand here will accumulate interest right through. So basically you can say, look, you can do it the following way. You can say, look, there's my future value, X. I'm just going to write the formula down and then just change it again to the power of n minus 1 over 9. That would have been the formula if this 31st was the second and 28 was 31st was the first installment, second and third installment. But now that 600 Rand is accumulating in what? Interest. Now I can say, look, I'm not starting the 31st with a 600 Rand. That 600 Rand's got 1 month extra installment. So what they basically do, they just add 1 month to that interest there. And then for 4 years, I'm not going to do the summer. I'm just going to show you. They take the 600 Rand and they say, look, 1 times the interest rate, which I don't know, I haven't written it down. And that's not going to be 4 times 12. That's going to be 4 times 12 plus 1 extra month minus 1 over I. Why? This 600 Rand right at the beginning is accumulating an extra month of interest that in the normal annuity doesn't happen. There's 1 month of interest extra on a 600 Rand. This you sometimes.
I see.
So just be aware of that.
So if they say it's immediately at the first month.
Yeah, immediately. Yeah, look, the syllabus is quite confusing because what does immediately mean? I mean, you can be on the 20th of January. You don't have to be on the 1st of January. Immediately means today, and we don't know the date. So that's not really clear. They need to change a little bit. There's a couple of stuff in the syllabus that's not right. This is not right. They should give you the date. But they don't, because if it was on the 20th, then you would have had a problem, because then you don't have a full month of interest. Then there's other ways of doing it.
Oh, okay.
Good. Okay, and this is future values. Now, the P formula, present value, P equals X bracket. I think it's
1 minus.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's 1 minus. Basically switched around, and then the n becomes a negative.
Over. Okay, good. You could have written it like that, or I think textbooks just write it like this. They have a bracket here on top and then X in front. Those might be square brackets. Now, this is present value. This we normally do when you do a loan. You're borrowing money. Why? Because if you buy a car, let's say you're buying a car of 150,000 Rand. Then immediately when you leave that showroom, your debt or your loan amount is 150. That's presently the loan amount. And that's when we use the P formula. So let's do a simple sum with that. Okay, you're going to buy a car. So we're buying, like, let's make it 150,000. 150,000 Rand car. Okay, interest rate is quite high because it's not like a lower end value car. So you're paying like, let's say 12% per annum, compounded monthly. and they see that you're not 25 yet, you risk, so they want as soon as possible a lot of money. And we're going to pay a car over 5 years. Right, no deposit. Good. I want to know, what is my monthly installment? What is the monthly installment? That's X. So if I walk out of that place, I owe them 150,000 Rand. Right,
Yes.
now, X is my monthly installment. I don't know that yet. And the rate is 12 divided by 100 over 12. And there is 60 months in 5 years. So that's 12 divided by 100 over 12. You see, I don't do 0.12. I don't even think about that. I'm just make the calculator do everything.
Mm.
And same here. It's really easy. You're going to work out the right-hand side with the calculator as is, and just you're going to have a value next to X.
Yeah. Oh, I messed up my brackets.
It's fine. You just go back and fix it.
Okay, got the same thing.
Okay. Now, so you're going to pay 3,366 Rand and 67 cents for 60 months. Okay, what's interesting? Okay, this is just want to show you something that's quite interesting out of this. Let's look at the following. If I pay 3,336.67 for 60 months, so I'm just going to take that and multiply it with 60. I'm going to be paying 200,000 Rand for that car. 200,000 and 200 Rand. So I'm paying like 50,000 Rand extra for that car. Paying like over 50,000 Rand of interest for that car. The problem is, after 5 years, if I sell that car, I'm lucky to get like 70,000 Rand for that car. So this is a problem with hire purchase in vehicles. So you bought a car, its value was 150,000 Rand. You paid 200,000 Rand for the car, you're selling it for 70 grand. So that car basically cost you 130,000 Rand to drive over 5 years.
Oh,
150,000, no, 120, sorry. You're getting 70 for it, you paid, there's 130. So I did say 130. So I'm going to take 130,000 Rand and I'm going to divide it with 60. So I'm paying, that car cost me, or I lost 2,166 Rand a month. Basically. So this is always what you need to do if you calculate when you're purchasing a car. So if you've next year, if you want to buy a car and you do the calculation, you need to realize what you're actually paying for that car and what you're actually going to get out of the deal. Okay.
isn't it better to rather save up for the car at once, or?
Yes, obviously. Depends. It all depends basically on what work you're going to do in the future, Aiden. If you're a rep or someone that needs to drive a lot, then you do a car like this on hire purchase. You buy this car because there's a tax incentive for you on that 3,336 Rand. Because you're using the car for work, you can claim some of it. But if you're a normal person like me that doesn't drive, I don't drive a lot. then it's always best to make your first or even your second car a cheaper car, that you can actually buy or pay off ASAP, and then save up for a better car.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
So yeah.
Okay, let's do the following. We're going to continue with this calculation. I'm just going to take this out. This section was just for fun. Now we're going to make this sum harder. Right, so the first question might be, what is my monthly installment? So let's say this was 1.1, and we calculate that. 3,367, 36 Rand and 67 cents. Now 1.2 is slightly harder. Okay, let's assume that after 2 years, you want to sell the car. You're tired of the car, and you want to sell it. Obviously, the first thing you want to know, how much do I owe? How much do I still owe the bank? I mean, I've purchased this car. I was planning to pay it off in 5 years, but now after 2 years, I need another car, or I need something has changed. Maybe you got a family or something, and I need to buy a bigger car. How much do I owe on the car? And this is something you can do in 2 ways. No, method one. Method one is to use the P formula. I'll explain now. The P formula reasons in the following way. The amount of money that you still owe is the same amount that you're still borrowing. Let's assume that you're owing the bank another 100,000 Rand after 2 years. That means you're still borrowing that 100,000 Rand. And then I can just use P. P is the present value. In other words, what am I presently still owing the bank? And then I can just do the following. P, I have a monthly installment of 3,336 Rand and 67 cents. That is X, 1 minus, 1 plus. The rate is still the same. That is 12%. So 12 divided by 100 to get 0.12 over 12 because it's monthly compounded. Minus, now, if 2 years have passed, that means 3 years remain. So I need to take 3 and multiply that with 12. Because there's going to be 36 months left to pay. And that's on 12 divided by the 100 over 12. So that will give me exactly how much money I'm still owing. So by the way, this is the chapter of work that I like the least.
Finance.
Yeah, I don't personally, I don't like financial maths, and probability also. I'm not really into it. It's just not interesting.
Yeah, that's the next one.
Yeah, those are the 2 chapters that I like the least. And I'm probably the worst at it then. It's just how life works. Okay, anyway. I still owe them 100,000 Rand, 458. 10458 and 81 cents. I still, after 2 years, owe them 100,000 Rand. I thought it was going to be more. I'm really thinking it's going to be more than 100,000.
Seems right. Got the same answer.
Yeah. Okay. There was another way of doing it, but this is a more complicated method. And I need to show you this because lots of the memos use this method. They're going to assume the following, but this is just like a dumb assumption, but this is the way that the reasoning is working. Let's assume you've not paid a cent for this car. So what has happened? Let's just write it in words. What has happened? Happened the following. You have not paid 1 cent. Not paid a cent. You've paid nothing for this car. The day after the day you took the car out of that showroom, you haven't contributed a cent. So after 2 years, you want to find out how much money you still owe them. But you were clever. You didn't pay the monthly premium into their account. You saved the monthly premium. So your debt has accrued it. Okay. I'm going to take off the savings. And that will equal what you owe them. So assuming the following, that carved place, that bank that you borrowed the money, they are just going to make your debt accumulate more and more and more. So they're going to use a formula. A equals P bracket 1 plus I to the power of N. They're going to use that to calculate your debt. So this is part A. You started your loan with 150,000 Rand. That is accumulated interest. Well, 12% per year. And you haven't paid for 2 years. So that is 2 times 12. If I put that in my calculator, I get what? 150, 1 plus 12 over 1200 to the power of 24. So at the moment, oh, I've got a problem here. I typed in the wrong value. Is it 190,000 Rand?
Yes.
I'm not going to round off because it's not a question. So after 2 years, if you want to find out how much money you owe, they're going to phone you and tell you, hey, pal, you haven't paid anything. You owe us not 150,000. Now you actually owe us 190,000 Rand with a 460 added to that. So this is your total debt, but you saved the premium. So I'm going to take a future value sum. That's wrong. Sorry, it's other way around. 1 plus I to the power of N minus 1. So I didn't pay them, but I saved the premium. I saved that 3 grand a month, that 3,300. So I'm going to take the savings I've made and deduct it from the debt I've got. So after 2 years, I've got so much money in the bank, 3,336,67. And that accumulated at an interest of 12 divided by 100 over 12. Also for 2 years, for 2 years. So it was also 24 minus 1 over 12 divided by 100 over 12. So this is the future of my savings. So now, look, this is a long method, but I'm showing you this because lots of memos use this. And if you haven't seen it, you're going to try and figure out what they're doing. Certain students find this easier to figure out.
I prefer the one on the left so far. This
No,
just
so
seems.
I think it's the best one, but just gonna make sure my brackets are in. So this is 12 over 1200. So I've saved a 90,000 Rand and 1 Rand 55,097. And then you just subtract those from one another. So we're going to take the 190,460, 1973, and I'm going to subtract the 90,001 Rand. There's a 55. I don't know why this is there. 55, whatever. So 190,460.1973 minus the answer I just got. That gives me that same amount there. 100,458,81. I've got 64 here now. And why would that be?
So it worked.
I
don't know. No, I'm just trying to think why.
Because there's probably some decimals we've missed here.
Yeah, I think the calculator used all the decimals and we just.
Yeah, but when I typed it here, right at the end, I didn't put all the decimals in. I just used comma 1973, not the other decimals.
Does it make a difference?
There's a slight difference between the answers. The memos on the exam paper will have both methods in. we
So if you get in a test, let's say you don't use all the decimals,
yeah.
or
You should be
will you
fine if
still
you
get the
use 5
marks?
decimals. I use 5 decimals normally, and I should be fine.
Very cool. But if you don't use 5, will you get minus marks for?
Yeah, look, I'm not always sure. I'm not always sure what impact memos look like during the year. I have, to be honest, I've looked at some of their memos, and they're not using all the various methods to get the answers, and that is problematic. I've got grade 11 students, and I had to tell some of them in this to go back to the well, whoever marked it and say, look, you haven't marked any of this because you don't have it in the memo, but it's also a correct way of doing it. And then they got the marks at the end.
Hmm.
They did, that was with physics. But look, you're going to write a CAPS paper also at the end, and that will have all the memos, all the various ways of doing it in.
That's for finals, right? Or
Yeah, it's
prelim?
finals.
No, finals.
Yeah, finals. Okay, so this basically sums up what the P formula can do. Right, now we need to just find out, can we actually calculate N with one of these formulas? So let's assume that we're going to buy a laptop. And how much is that? 32,000 Rand. But we can't afford it. So we're going to do the following. We're going to borrow the money from the bank. Okay, and they're going to charge us 11.5% per annum, compounded monthly. And we have, what, 3 years to pay it. No. That's going to defeat everything. We're going to tell them that we are only able to pay, let's say, 1,700 Rand per month. That's the maximum we can pay. And they said, no problem. They will work out how long it will take. How long will it take to actually buy this or pay off this laptop? So we're going to use a P formula because we have a present value for that laptop. That's the amount of debt we make the minute we walk out of the store. So that is 1 minus 1 plus I to the power of minus N over I. And in this case, we need to calculate N. Right, so write that down and see if you can actually do that. It's just going to be shifting around values and isolating N. And this one might be slightly harder because you're going to work with negative values, but just see what you can do, and then I'll do it.
Okay.
So I'm just start putting in some values. We're gonna have a p-value of 32 grand. We're paying 1,700 Rand a month, that's X. And the rate is 11,5 divided by 100 over 12 minus n, we don't know, over 11,5 divided by 100 over 12. Now there's various ways of doing this.
I started off with moving the interest at the bottom
Okay,
left side.
just give me a method. What are you gonna do?
So I'm saying what I'm starting off with is I'm moving the bottom interest to the left side.
Okay, so you're multiplying 32 grand with that.
Yes.
Okay, good. Let's do that and get an answer. I get something like 920 over 3.
1 second. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and then I have a 1,700 here and whatever big brackets there is. Okay, also in this, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write that in now. I'm also gonna now divide the 1,700 underneath that. So I've got that value in my calculator. I'm just gonna divide the 1,700. And that gives me 46 over 255. And now that means I can take this big square brackets away. And what remains is 1 minus a bracket in which I'm going to do a calculation now. So I'm going to do that 1 plus then fraction 11.5 divided by 100 divided by 12 or divided by 1200. So this is just 2423 over 2400. You understood what I did? I divided the 1,700 away. I've got a new value. What remains is 1 minus whatever that is.
Yes.
Good. So now I'm going to take the 1 over. So I'm going to take that fraction. And that's why it's important to work with fractions. Because I've lost this now in my calculator. So now I can just go back and type 46 over 255. That will give me all the decimals. And I'm minusing 1. So that gives me negative 209 over 255. Negative whatever that is. 2423 over 2400. And now I can both cancel the negatives on both sides. So in effect, I don't have to write this, but this is what remains, 255. And then I have a bracket there with a negative n, 2423 over 2400. And now I can log both sides, log. Then the negative n jumps in front. And I have a log 209 over 255, which I'm going to divide away with whatever that log in that bracket is. That's 2423 over 2400. Okay, then go. Log that 209 over 255 divided with log 2423 over 2400. Close the bracket. So this is negative 20,85 whatever equals negative n. So n is 21 months. I'm going to make 21 payments of 1,700 Rand each. Really not 21. The last payment is slightly less.
A couple
I'm gonna
days,
make
but
20 full payments of 1,700 Rand. Then the last payment is going to be slightly less. Now, calculating that last payment is a big problem. I think I've got something on this. I'm not sure. Yeah, uitstaande saldo. Okay, I think I have something like that. I don't. Yeah, I think I have. Okay, right. This is a bit small. So I'm going to expand slightly bigger. So then we have a final question on this. What is my final payment? Okay, we know that there's 20 payments of 1,700 Rand each, but the last month is like just 0.85 of a month. You understand that?
Mm.
Okay, so now they're going to do the following. I just want to get my bearings. Oh, okay, yeah. I think it's stuck this. Just want to make sure. We are going to pay. We haven't calculated the future value. We don't know that yet. You just think how we're going to do it. This is the best way of doing it probably. We're going to say the following. We're going to pay off 32,000 Rand the following way. There is going to be X bracket 1 minus 1 plus 100. Just want to make it slightly bigger. 11,5 divided by 100 over 12 to the power of minus 20. I think it's 20. Yeah. Just want to make sure this is the p value, 100,000. Okay, that's correct. Yeah. And that is over 11,5 divided. This is might be irritating to you because I'm writing, you're probably just writing 0,115 over 12. Okay, so this is 20 full payments. And then I'm going to add a specific amount, P, that I don't know. And I'm just going to take a simple a compound interest formula and modify it. I'm going to do this and I'll explain to you what I'm doing now. 1 plus 0,115 over 12, let's just use that, to the power of minus 21. So the following reason is, what value could I have added right at the beginning, which would accumulate it so that it would pay off 21 months? That last month. That last month. No. Small months. In other words, what you must realize is that I'm not paying that last amount in the middle of the month. I'm paying it at the end of the 21st month. But a small amount that's added to that to make the 32,000. And this X value here is my 1,700 I'm paying each month. 1,700. That's a difficult equation. Oh. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take 32,000 Rand and minus it with whatever I get there. So I'm just going to work out this green part first. And then do 32,000 Rand minus that answer. So the green part is 1,700 Rand. This you will seldom, if ever, get, Aiden. This is too difficult, actually. I'm just showing you all the variables that you might get. The other thing that's quite difficult is when they play with their words with regards to dates and you don't really understand what time you've started paying, when you need to end. So that was 30,806 Rand. So I'm just going to write it here. You don't have to write it. You can just do the calculation immediately. But I'm going to show you. This is 32,000. And this amount is 308. 0.6,524 whatever, plus that P1 plus 0,115 over 12 to the power of minus 21. So I'm going to subtract those. So 32 grand minus answer. That will give me 1193,475 whatever equals P. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna type this blue part in my calculator. Right. I've got bracket 1 plus 0.115 over 12 to the power of minus 21. So that is 0.81849. So I'm just going to divide that 1193.475 with the answer. So the final payment is 1,458 Rand and 14 cents. That sounds kind of okay if I'm doing it 85 over 100 or 0.85 of a month, not a full month. But you couldn't do 85% of the full amount. Interest doesn't work like that. Oh, almost there. Flipping hell.
There's so many decimals in these sums.
Really? I'm actually stunned now. I'm trying to do something. Write that down. I'm just going to teach something. Maybe I've just been dumb all these years. I bet it's not going to work, but it's so close. Plus 20. Yes, it's 1 Rand out.
Yeah, that's very close.
That's really close. I wonder if it's not exactly the same if we didn't do any decimals. Yeah. Damn, this is now becoming real. So basically what I did this. This negative 20. This was negative 20,85 whatever. 0.857148. So I just did 0.857148 of 1,700 Rand, and I was 1 Rand out. 1457,14. I will investigate that again. No one's ever done that on a memo. This is normally the method they employ.
Either it's a really big coincidence or
Yeah, no, it won't be coincidence. I'll just redo the number punching and see if it works. But anyway, even if we do this little method, I don't know how they're gonna give you marks for it. I won't be too worried about this last section. It's very seldom, if ever, you'll find that in an exam. You might find it in homework under the more advanced examples, but in a test, I doubt it.
oh, okay.
Okay, there's going to be class every Tuesday. Until you tell me, look, we're writing tests soon. You're going to be able to tell me that because I don't know what subjects you do and I don't know when your test dates are. So if you just tell me like a couple of days in advance that you can't do Tuesday, or but rather Wednesday or Thursday, then I'll be able to maybe do you on a Monday or something like that. But otherwise, we'll have a class every Tuesday, and you are going to receive the link sometime during the morning on a Tuesday.
Okay. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
I don't have specific homework on this. What we also need to do is start working on the examples that you didn't do well in the June exam.
Okay.
Okay, keep well.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
No problem, bye.